kind of attitude. The car's repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You've lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day and saying to yourself, it's not over until I win.
Yeah, I love that song. Everybody, welcome to Nonsensical Nonsense Network. And of course, we are the Dollars and Cents podcast. Vera is not here today. She is, as usual, kind of under the weather. It'll happen. We get it. We are live now. We have Samantha here with us. There's Samantha. I am your host, Jeff, and we are going to go over what we're going to be doing on this podcast. So, Sam, do me a favor real quick and tell us a little about yourself, a little bit about your background.
My background, so I've actually been in the corporate world for over 25 years in the financial services industry, mostly insurance and financial services and employee benefits. I decided back in 2019 to go into a nomad lifestyle. So I left the US and decided to travel through Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, so on and so forth. And so, and I did insurance, and now we're now helping businesses. So that's what I've been doing.
Just like me, the whole nomad lifestyle, it can be a pain in the ass, but it is fun. I mean, let's be honest. As we always say, let's be honest. It's pretty cool. I get to play with my buttons. And I love it.
Scenery is
Benji, what's up, sir? So Benji is a big fan of Nonsensical Nonsense. Benji is also, I'm actually trying to get Benji to become one of my brokers, but I get it. He's got stuff going on. It happens. So, and like myself, you've had lots of jobs, through over the years, and you're, let's be honest, you're slightly older than I am. I won't reveal your age, but sometimes I ought to call you mom. Just saying. But yeah, like I said, you're more of the white collar background, where I'm more of the blue collar background. Hence my tagline: I am the black sheep. We both work for the same company. Technically, saying, I mean, it's overly complicated, but right. The beauty of what we do is, and I literally, we have a message board all day, and we talk back and forth for our team. And I sent a gift today, and I truly believe it. I love my job. In my 42 years, oh my gosh, I'm 42. Holy shit. I've had so many jobs, it's countless. And this is the one job that I'm actually excited to go to work. And I don't know about you, because I know how I am. On my day off, I'm fucking bored, and I wish I was at work. Maybe not the whole day, but I'm sitting there watching TV going, I could be sending fucking emails and getting more clients in. Is that something that happens to you?
It does. It does. Like, I really enjoy my career. I think that, I love building things. I love helping people. I mean, helping people really is my strong suit. I like being, a part of, being able to provide a service and, and just helping people. And so to me, that's what motivates me to get up every morning in order to do work. I just, I love giving back.
I do have to ask, and we are both remote workers. And can I just say, remote work is fucking awesome.
Yes.
I do joke with my buddies all the time that, oh my gosh, it was so hard getting to work today. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, well, I had to actually get up and walk into my office. And I do claim this room as my office. As we all know, it is a bathroom / office. But, how many other people can say they got a 32-inch TV in their bathroom? I'm just saying.
Yeah, nobody really.
Well, and I do have to say, out of everybody's houses that I've seen on Zoom and whatnot, you have the best view I've ever seen in my life. However, I will never go into your apartment. You are
Well,
way too high off the ground.
it's 40, yeah, the 42nd floor, but ocean view, gotta love it. Gotta love it.
Yeah, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Anything higher than second floor, I'm kind of out. And third floor is questionable. Yeah. Oof.
In Panama, though, is that you do get like, on the Pacific Ocean, you get to see sunrise and sunset at the same place. So it's not like as though, you're on East Coast, West Coast, like in the States. You actually see the sunrise and sunset in the same area. So I get both.
That's pretty cool. That is
Yeah.
pretty cool. I am mildly envious of that. However, your balcony, I got to talk about this for a second. Your balcony just makes me want to sit there with a cup of coffee. But just inside the window, I don't want to actually go out on the balcony ever. Like, you sent a video, and I wish I had a copy of it so I could show it on the show. But you sent us a video when you first were moving in. Your video scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh no, I couldn't even watch the whole. Like, you got to the balcony, and I was like, oh, I'm done.
I know. Let's put the phone down.
Oh, I wanted to send it to my buddy Chris, who does nonsensical nonsense with me. He's so afraid of heights. I was like, I need to send this to Chris, but he would somehow figure out a way to get to Cancun without getting on a plane, just to punch me in the face. And the beauty of the way we work is, being a remote worker is one of those things where it's like you get to literally go all over the country without leaving home. It's kind of cool.
It is, or even outside the country. But yeah, you can pretty much be anywhere. Pretty much anywhere.
And with my plans of moving, hope sometime this year, there's no date on it because I gotta have funds, and funds are, we've started new projects at work, and we're in the growing pains of it, and eventually I did speak with a couple of coworkers, Mitch and Greg and Kevin and some others that are eventually going to come on here on the show and kind of give a little quick overview of what they do. But the beauty of what we're going to be doing here is I am not a business background person. I'm kind of the guy I was digging ditches where you were sitting in class going, oh, that's what that is. I get it. I'm not that guy. Let's be honest. So one of the things I want to do on this show is I want to be able to, when Vera's on here as well, I'm going to ask you guys questions that may sound stupid to most, and let's be honest, probably 90% of them will be, but it's the one thing I've learned in being in the corporate world over the past 3 years is there's so much I don't know, and in general, people don't understand about the different ways a business can be done, the different LLCs and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to dumb it down for people while still having a good time. I take almost nothing serious. Let's be honest. So I want to be able to dumb it down for people and kind of break the stereotype that business is hard. And let's be honest, it's not always easy, but it doesn't have to be hard.
No, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. It's a lot of time. So you're basically, a lot of it is just time, right? Like when you're first starting out, it's putting that sweat and tears into it first. But eventually you want to have the business to be able to pretty much pull itself. So you're not taking that much time in order for that to come into fruition. So like you end up getting, the money starts coming in and you're doing less work because you probably have grown a team, or, you have, more people doing other things that are able to pretty much do the work for you. And then end up building that business where, you can go to Tahiti if you want to for like a couple of weeks or months or whatever. And
right.
The business is still there growing. You know, as you were talking about like the LLCs and like that's like there's tax advantages with owning a business. There's protecting your business by personal stuff. So there's a lot of areas to go into, like when you're thinking about businesses that could be very beneficial. And I think the entrepreneurship is definitely the way to go. And especially now, like when we can go remote, you don't have to
Exactly.
necessarily have to have an office. You don't need to have a brick and mortar. So,
Right. And let's be honest, most days I'm Donald Ducking it or Winnie the Poohing it, I'm just wearing a shirt. And I'm like, yeah,
I just got to change mine.
but the I think the biggest stereotype when it comes to that's actually Glick jumping in there in the chat here.
Mhm.
The biggest stereotype about business is it comes down to everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. But as I said this to somebody the other day, they were saying, I'd love to start a business or I'd love to be part of something where I make commission and huge commissions. Some of the commissions we work with are shocking. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard some numbers. I know you've heard some numbers where we've gone, really?
Yeah,
How do I
six
do that?
figures for just one
Yeah.
sale. Like, yeah, I mean, it could be outrageous.
And he's like, my friend of mine said this to me the other day. I'd love to be able to do that, but I need the stability of a salary. And I told him something that's been said to me a bunch of times. I literally posted this on my Instagram the other day. No one ever got rich by working for a salary, unless you're like the CEO of Walmart. Doug McMillon does pretty good for himself. Let's be honest.
Mhm.
And that is the one catch of owning your business, I think, is you got to be prepared to have a nut each month that you won't reach right away. Like we talked about this the other day, you and I, where I was like, I have an X amount of money I need to hit every month just to cover my bills and make sure my family's fed, I'm fed,
Right.
and I have cigarettes. I don't need much, but I do need my cigarettes. And but once you get to that point, and we were talking about this the other day when we were talking about the preventive health program. If we can get just enough where you're like, okay, I can breathe now. That area, once you hit that, I can breathe and I don't have to worry. And now let's worry about the profits. Let's worry about
Right.
that's the goal.
And the profits also, goes into savings, which a lot of people need to think about too. So it's like when you do
Right.
make profits, you do need to save because, as an entrepreneur, right, you're going to have your highs and you're going to have your lows. But, the beauty, I think, especially with preventive healthcare that you were talking about, I mean, that is continuous amount of passive income that's coming in. And so,
Correct.
and that's the beauty about having a business where you may be working for so many hours, but you have that income coming time and time and time
Right.
again.
And
Where
even
if
on
you're
a
an
small
employee, you don't
case,
have that,
well,
right?
even on a small case, like I actually have a list where I'm going through right now where I'm calling people, trying to get them onto the program, trying to set up appointments. And, they're not giant. They're like, 20, 40, 50. I think my biggest one is over 580 or something like that.
Hmm.
But, the beauty of something that the first time I ever heard of a residual pay out on commission was at this company. I've sold everything, you name it, I've sold it. And commission's been my life for well over 20 years. And I'm like, wait, so I sell it once and I get paid every single month? That's
Yeah.
insane. And I recently just realized, and maybe you can confirm or deny this, but isn't there a form of where you were in the industry you were in with insurance that was a thing as well, correct?
Yeah, of course. And so, like, in insurance, there is either the one-time payout or you have residual income. Whole life insurance, health insurance, they're all residual, for the life of the
Exactly.
plan. is going to be a residual income. But you think about it, it's like the time that I put into it. Like I felt like as though I put a lot of time in order to, from the time that I met with the client, you know, having them understand what it is to the point of, they signed everything, it became enforced. You know, that time, in comparison to someone who has like a full-time, 40-hour a week job, is very
It's
different. Like I
minuscule.
actually took a small amount of time, but the payout is going to be so much greater because, it could be the person could have that policy for 20 years. A person can have, that, a plan, 20, 30 years down the line. So, that's already done. My work is
And,
already done and I'm still getting paid for it. I think that's beautiful.
well, and the one of the beauties of our job, and it doesn't really apply to us as much yet.
Hmm.
Emphasis on the yet, but in a commission job where you can literally, and Greg said this today in the meeting, he was at a bar explaining it to a buddy of his, and another guy was like, wait, what? I want that. And it, granted, what Greg is doing with the company is something way different than what we're focusing on at the moment. Not that we're not focusing on it, but it's
Hmm.
not our main point of goal. With the merchant processing, there was so much about merchant processing I did not know. And once again, I go into these meetings, and this is one of the reasons I set all these meetings with, every time I see an email from any one of the programs, I jump on it, because every time I go, I learn something new and I feel less stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And
the,
merchant processing is like a whole other territory. Like that was brand new. Like I knew nothing.
yeah,
All I knew is that it had something to do with credit cards, and that was the end of it.
right,
You
and
don't really think much of it. Like there's a lot.
exactly, you swipe your card, or
Tap it.
if you've ever worked, you tap your card, or even if, I can work a credit card machine. I used to have to do it when I did tour sales. So
Hmm.
you don't think about those little bitty things that we're learning. And it, I don't know about you, but for myself, it's so fascinating, because every time, and like I was on a meeting with Mitch the other day uh, for our AI tax program, and Mitch said something to me. And I don't even remember what it was, but I was like, light bulb. And it it's just, every time I go to one of these meetings, even if I've been on the same meeting 40 times, and we do joke that some meetings could have been an email. We all know that meeting.
Yeah.
But when you go to some of these meetings, it's a whole new learning experience, because it's some of the meetings, like the one we had with Greg today, I thought was awesome, because it was a collaboration. I
Hmm.
love those meetings, because everybody's willing to listen to somebody's 2 cents, and what
Right.
you're doing might be different from somebody else's. What's up, Connor? How you doing, sir? Got the hard R. That's Connor. He's actually co-host of Nonsensical Nonsense, which is tomorrow. Um, but so, and you may not know the answer to this. I'm probably understanding more than I. We were talking a little bit ago, like 10 minutes ago, about the difference between LLC, C corp. I don't even know how many there are, and I've been
C
doing this for
corp,
3 years.
S
How
corp, LLC.
irresponsible? Yeah, how irresponsible is that? I've been doing this for 3 years, and I still don't know the difference.
I knew I have an LLC myself because I'm a sole proprietor, and so
Right?
you know
Mine's in
I
process.
my and I understood a little bit about S corps and C corps. S corps you get a lot more tax advantages, is my understanding. LLC is more of a protection. Um,
Okay.
so like it's not like, and especially as a sole proprietor, I mean, you can have an LLC and not be a sole proprietor, but like that's the one that I have because it's just me. Where if anything were to happen with your business, like let's say somebody wanted to sue you, they're not suing you directly. They're suing the LLC. Like it's kind of
Oh,
like that
okay.
protection barrier. So, you have your own EIN number. There's, a lot of tax advantages that you can get depending upon the state that you're in. You can get tax advantages for that. So, Wyoming, Delaware, or, Florida, those are several states that actually don't have state tax. And so if
Right.
you have an LLC within those non-state taxes, those states that don't have tax, that you don't have to pay state tax for, you can benefit from that. Especially like I was a resident in California where the taxes are so high. I grew up in
Yeah.
New Jersey, the taxes are so high. So I decided to have my LLC in Wyoming just to be able to, take advantage of those, not having to pay those state taxes. And so,
Right.
um,
And the goal for most of what we do is less tax.
yes, I think for everybody, like everybody's mantra should be try not to pay as much taxes as you can.
Oh, 100%. Well,
And,
and let's be honest, if you're in, God forbid you're in California, the federal tax doesn't change across the board, from my understanding. But what's killing you is state tax. State tax in California, there was talks about jumping it up again for God knows what.
yeah, there's state taxes. There's, I mean, even New York City too, because if you live in New Jersey and work in New York City, like you're not only paying state taxes in New Jersey because you're a resident there, but you're also paying city tax for working in New York City. So it's like there's a lot of different areas where you can get really taxed a lot. California is just as bad. If you're self-employed, there's another type of tax that you're paying. You can pay up to 20% just being self-employed. So, yeah, I mean, they even say too, like, death and taxes, like even when
Yeah.
you're dead, if you don't, properly set yourself up in the United States, they can tax you 50% when you're dead. And like,
That's
so like maybe
insane.
50% of your, your estate can go over to your family when you think they're getting 100%. So it's like, there's a lot of, you want to try to pay the least amount of taxes. That's, how the rich get richer
Right.
is because they know, what to do in order
What
to pay the
loopholes?
least amount of tax. Yeah, the loopholes,
And
exactly.
I hate using the word loophole, but let's be honest, that's what it is. I mean,
But it's a, but
there's
it's
no
law.
better term.
Yeah, but
There's no
it's,
better
it's
term.
still legal. It's still legal. Like every
Yeah.
state is different. Like you'll see like the Jeff Bezos or, everybody else who's like living in, California or Washington who are moving their businesses to Nevada or moving it to Florida, or Texas. It's like it's because of those state tax
Yeah.
situations. They can save, millions upon billions of dollars. Why would you not do that,
Well,
if you're
you
able
know,
to?
I'm actually trying to figure out how to put Ukraine on my taxes as a dependent, but that's another story. Because uh, I actually, one of my favorite movies deals with taxes. It's called oh my gosh, it's Will Ferrell and what's her name, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Oh my gosh, my brain shut off. Where he's a tax, he works for the IRS as a oh my gosh, what's it called?
Tax agent? I don't know, an IRS agent
Well,
or
he's an IRS agent. He's an auditor for the IRS, and she owns a small bakery. Will Ferrell. Excellent movie, but basically he's going over her taxes, and she actually paid her taxes and left a note in the taxes that it's called Stranger Than Fiction. She put in a note. She's like, I'm only sending you X amount because that's what goes to schools and roads and things like that. The rest I'm not paying. So obviously she got audited. Rip, what we sell, we actually do solutions for businesses. And Sam, maybe you may be able to explain better what we do.
yeah.
We basically save people in taxes. The way I
Yeah,
say
so
it.
no, we save people on money, either trying to help them reduce their taxes or find tax solution strategies in order to be able to pay less taxes with the certain solutions that we have. There's also other solutions that we have or other product lines that can help in reducing their costs. So,
Right.
several of the products that we're able to offer, or it's a wide range. So it's not
Oh,
like just
it's
one
getting
niche.
bigger
It's
each
a
week.
wide range. So, we do AI tax planning, which is freaking awesome. It's pretty much a strategy of what the rich use, but they're giving it to a smaller, those who are making like 200, $300,000 in their business. They are able to save them, 30 to 70, some cases, $200,000 a year in
Well,
tax, depending upon
Mitch just told
the
me
type
about
of
that.
business.
Did Mitch tell you about the guy? They saved him over $3 million a year in taxes.
Yeah.
And
So
that's insane.
it
You know,
is. It's amazing how big it has to be the net profit of the business in order to be able to see and what their tax liabilities are. But you'd be amazed how many businesses or even people how much they're paying in taxes and don't
oh, it's
even know that
insane.
there's strategies that are out there. And so they help with that. Uh, you know, Preventative health care. Love. I don't know why nobody is taking advantage of this like they should. Not only are you saving on FICA taxes, one of the clients that we're dealing with right now could save $777,000 a year in FICA taxes. But it also increases the employees' paychecks, depending how they're paid, on a weekly or bi-monthly basis. And they
Yeah,
can
and
actually get something and all these preventative benefits like
well, on the
medical, mental.
when it
Yeah.
comes to the employee part of the LLH program, yeah, the employees, they don't necessarily get the a bad deal. They're seeing anywhere from $10 to $40 extra in each check.
Yeah, but
And
they're also
you
getting
know,
all these benefits.
and the if anybody's had to take a time off to take their kid to the doctor, your kid walks in the room at 2 o'clock in the morning and go, "Mommy, I don't feel good." You could be like, "Well, let's get the doc on the phone right now." That is genius.
And not have to pay a copay, not have to wait. You could do it by video, you could do it by phone, and it's 24/7. It could be four
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning, and boom, they're available. And if you need a prescription, it's sent over to you like right away. They prescribe and they send it, and you're
Well,
not even paying a fee for that either.
yeah, the beauty of a lot of our programs is its ease of use.
Yeah.
The ease of use, and I think people make it harder than they need to. Um, like the one we're dealing with the $770,000 worth of savings. It's not even the owner that's holding it up. I get it. It's tax season. That happens,
Yeah.
and that's the only thing really holding that one up. I was actually talking to one of the brokers today. Actually, he contacted me. I was one of Mark's brokers. He noticed my email signature. He's like, "That's so cool. I need that." I'm like, "Well, here's a copy. Make it your own." And I was like, "Just don't use the. Well, you can use those links, but they'll go to me." But I mean, if you want, go ahead. But he was like, "I don't understand why some of these aren't going through." And I said, I said, I think the biggest problem is there's somebody along the line. With a lot of these programs are new, they're and some of them are brand new.
Mhm.
Someone needs to take that leap. And once that leap is taken by somebody, the rest of them will fall like dominoes.
Yeah.
And the beauty of where you and I sit is we are on the ground floor. And well, perfect example. I did the ERC for 3 years. How long ago did you start the ERC?
we're in 2024, so mid of 2022 is
Okay,
when I
mid of
started.
22. So and at the height of that, at the height of ERC, you were pulling in bank.
Oh yeah.
And you've
Oh
said in the
yeah.
past, I wish I would have started when Vera and I started.
Yeah.
Because Vera started like 2 months before me, and I literally fell into this job, and it is the luckiest fall I've ever had. Because I literally was posting on Facebook that I would build something for anybody, because I was broke. I was, my wife was working, but I wasn't pulling in money left and right. And Vera called me and she's like, "You want to do this?" I was like, "Does it pay?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm in. When do I start?" She's like, "Go get yourself a laptop." So I went out that weekend and bought a laptop, and I've upgraded a laptop, and now I've built myself an office, and
Yeah.
it the beauty of being like when Vera was telling me when they first started the ERC, by the time I got in there, in the 2 or 3 months that she started before me, it was the same way. It was that somebody needs to take a leap, rock this out, and one of the biggest brokers we had made like $3 million in a year.
Yeah, I think
That's
actually
insane.
5. I think it was 5.
Was it 5?
Yeah.
I've been saying 3. I mean, that's insane. That's ungodly amounts of money for literally. Let's be honest, brokers don't do a whole lot.
No, they don't. And I think that was the beauty about it. It was just, a referral source. They were able to be the ones to build that relationships or had relationships already and was able to, bring this knowledge to them. And we basically told the knowledge of what it actually is and, held their hand. And
I think
we're
that
doing
was,
that now with the new products as well. So
and the one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast was a simple fact. Not only does it get the message out there, but the being able to vent at the end of the day.
oh my God.
Trust me, you're gonna be able to be like, fucking shit. I've gotten in trouble in the past for smoking at work, on a video call. I don't do that anymore because I told I'm not allowed to. But the beauty of, and of course, you want to talk about somebody has to really worried about Rip. Do me a favor. I'm gonna actually put here a email source so people can actually email us. I haven't created it yet, but I'm gonna create a dollars and cents email where we can actually people can email us questions and things like that. I haven't done it yet.
Yes, please do. I love answering questions. Like,
well, and that's that's the beauty of having the chat as well. Another reason why I want to do it live. We could 100% pre-record this. But the beauty of doing it live is it's live. I mean, anything can happen. My kid just walked in.
Yeah,
it's all day long, all day. And I'm literally, I put this chain here so I can hold on to it. So nobody can open my door because I'm like, I'm on a call. Hi, how you doing? This is Jeff.
There's something called a lock. You should look into.
I have one. My wife took the key away from me. Because I'll lock myself in here and won't emerge until 7 o'clock. And then as I leave,
smart of her.
a cloud of smoke will follow. And then she complains about how the room smells. She's like, "It smells like cigarettes in here." I'm like, yeah.
Where does it go?
A little bitty room. It has a vent, but if I turn it on, it's too loud. But yeah, let me go ahead and I'm gonna put in let's see, I'm gonna put the customer service email in here. That way, we can split these. And I've opened like 4 tabs. I keep opening the wrong one. I'm gonna throw our customer service email in here. That way, you guys, if you're interested in joining or talking with us on a personal level about your situation or this is just going to be a quick I can't type and talk. I'm so stupid. You can actually get to us and we can guide you where you need to be. If you want to see one of the programs, we can set that up. Here it is, copy. Oh my God.
We haven't even spoken about all the programs, but there's just so many of them. There's so many of them, but in all gamuts.
Yeah, and that's I think. Oh, damn it, I'm on the wrong one. every time. It's here. I can only do so much. Oh. What? So I'm going to put our customer service email in here. And there it is at the bottom of your screen. You guys can send us questions. You can send us, if you look at becoming a broker, we can walk you through that process. And that's, like I said, another reason why I wanted to do this show was because we can actually get more people interested and maybe help even more people. I truly believe this. What I'm about to say is I don't do my job for the pay as much as it sounds. I love the pay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to give it up. But when you work for, let's say you work retail selling a T-shirt, is it really fulfilling at the end of the day? Do you feel, good about what you did? And the beauty of what we do is we literally daily, our company that we work for has saved people over $2 billion. Granted over what, 10,000 people, but that's still, a lot of help. And the beauty of what we're doing is that's all we're doing. We're helping. And the more we can help, the better the world could be, especially on the simple fact. Let's be honest. I actually watched a video the other day, the Great Depression. The Great Depression, houses cost like 15 grand or something like that. And it was to buy a house during the Great Depression, housing prices were 15% higher than somebody would make a year. Well, if you look at the same metric right now in 2024, it's 42% higher.
Yeah.
So, and that goes for food, that goes for every little bit. So if we can save somebody $10 a month, it's worth it.
Definitely going to be saving more.
Oh, that didn't click. There it goes. Benji says, I clicked on the wrong button. You think you can sell a big player company on a program that other big companies will jump on board? I do believe that. And I think that's, Sam and I talked a lot, and Benji and I were talking the other day about this. Sometimes you need a big company to take that leap of faith and say, let's try it out. Because, and I ask everybody, like, hey, if this program works for you, would you mind if I have somebody call you that wants to, hear your side of it? How hard it was to set up. Is it really saving you money? Is what Jeff's telling me true? And people are like, hey, if I can help more people, great. And I think it's like you and I were talking about unions the other day.
Yeah.
And I started doing the math. When it comes to getting a union onto a preventative health, you're not dealing with one company, you're dealing like 50. So yeah, it'll take time, but if one company in that union is like, I'm in, the other ones will see the benefit and go, yep, me too. And next thing you know, it's retirement time.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, buddy. We did. He and I had was it Saturday? Saturday, my wife went to a birthday party thing. So I was here by myself. I was like, I wonder what Benji's doing. So I called him up, and we literally talked for like 3 hours. And the 3 hours, that's not that hard. Let's be honest. I can talk for days.
Yeah, you can definitely talk for days.
Why I'm so good at sales? I'm just saying. But and I get that when you get there she is. Oh my gosh, hold on, I'm gonna put my shades on. Leggy's here. This is Leggy that we were talking about before the show. Leggy, how you doing? But yeah, like I said, the beauty of what we do is it's helping people, and I love that fact. I used to sell timeshare, and you want to talk about feeling bad at the end of the day. I would get home and I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna get drunk because I made a shit ton of money today, but I sold somebody something that they could have gotten through a Expedia website.
Right.
Yeah. the so this, I finally found something that I can actually sell, and it's not even selling.
I don't think
I
it's
don't.
selling. It's not even
It's not.
selling. It's really just showing like what opportunities are out there and see if they're actually eligible for those opportunities and see if it makes sense for them to go forward because of the amount of savings that they can have. It's basically all what we're doing is helping small and large businesses and even people save money. Like that's
Right.
basically it, like in a nutshell. And who doesn't want to save money?
Oh,
Especially in this
100%.
day of age. So and especially if you don't have to pay Uncle Sam, if you can pay less to Uncle Sam than you have to pay, then
Well, not
people
even
love
Uncle
that.
Sam. The green energy project we have now.
Yes,
It,
that's
it
a beauty.
the only problem I have with the green energy project comes down to one thing. It costs so much. And even though 70 to 90% of it is paid for, that's still a big hit. And I think that's the biggest hurdle.
But I also
Um,
think too, you're also, not only are you going to the green energy route, whether it is the HVAC systems to, solar to, water to, whatever energy, that's lowering your bills and not having to deal with the grid, where it could be down to $0. And so it's like,
exactly.
and that could be long lasting. And they
Exactly.
even have programs where you don't even have to deal with the maintenance. They'll do the maintenance for you. So,
Right.
and that's
Well,
part of it.
and I think the beauty of the green energy project comes down to one thing, and this is something Trent and I were talking about the other day. Trent being the head of the program, is the biggest problem is with the energy grid is it's old as fuck,
Yeah.
and it is not maintained the way it's not something that can be maintained. I don't want to take anything away from the electrical union because I have a plan to call them, but but it comes down to it's a large task, and I was talking to Chris the other day. He was telling me when he worked at OSU, and sometimes when you work for these big companies, you could be like, this light bulb needs changed. Now, you and me were like, okay, that light bulb's out. I'll change it.
Right.
You have to put in like 14 forms and then get approved to change a light bulb.
California is the worst on that. Like, and that's with anything, regardless if it's electric or
Right.
not. It could be like, building a building. But, you have to go through like sometimes like 30 different departments in order to get, all these different permits to get, and sometimes it could take years.
Yeah.
And you see like,
And he was telling me that literally it gets to the last person like, yeah, it's not in the budget. It's a light bulb. It's 50 cents.
yeah,
I got the change in my pocket, brother.
yeah,
So it's the beauty of this program. This program comes in where you can not only remove yourself from the energy grid, but they can add things to your property like the Tesla chargers and you the video we watched the other day, and I was telling Benji about this. That farm that they showed in that video, the energy system was running off cow shit.
yeah.
And I was, and
Pretty
by the time it got through all three of those giant balloons, and let's be honest, they look like balloons.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out as perfect fertilizer.
Yeah,
You would talk about the circle of life, and that's the circle of life on that farm. And
yeah,
I did a little bit more research on that farm. He is, because I got bored, and that video intrigued the shit out of me. That guy is not only providing the electricity for his property, his entire town.
is able to get it.
He is the energy company for his town. So he's got, the cows, the milk, the cheese, all that stuff, the fertilizer, and the electrical grid
Yeah,
are all his. I mean, that guy's in 10 years, that guy's going to be a multi-billionaire.
yeah.
We
Crazy.
the beauty of some of these programs, and it's not even programs we don't have.
Well, I do want to touch up on water though. Like water is also a big thing. And like I think of Nevada, I think of Vegas. Like I'm just like the water shortage that's over there, like they're in a desert. Like do people like forget about that? Like,
well, California is the perfect example. Every time you turn around, California's in a drought.
yeah.
Volition, the energy company we're working with, they have a machine, and I still don't understand how it works. Even though I've seen the video like 50 times.
They could get it from like like it creates
from
the atmosphere.
I've had it explained to me a couple times, and the way I understand it is, a couple years ago, Elon Musk put out, somebody make a carbon capture machine, and I'll pay you X amount of dollars. And I'm pretty sure Volition was like, we got this, and built this thing. But then they realized it works, but it's creating a bunch of water. They tested the water. It was 99% pure. Like you can drink it right out the tap. And their small machine, and this is why I was asking Trent the other day, can we make that portable? Because, we're working with that big mine right now.
Right.
And I said, and the video we watched the other day, it showed it on like in a back of a semi truck. It was like a steel container, like that you put on a container ship. I said, if we can make that portable, imagine just showing up, and the one machine produces 250 gallons a day, the other produces over 2,000 gallons a day.
Yeah.
I see what you did there, lady. Ha ha ha. No, but that's true. The Bloom energy system.
He does the thing.
Yeah. But the problem with solar panels that most people realize really quickly, there's two. One, they take up a lot of space. If you need the power to run something big, you need at least an acre of land. The other problem is they don't work when the sun's off. They don't work at night. So
they don't?
No, they don't. Solar panels don't work without sun. Go figure. Solar panels.
No, but solar panels. I'm just like okay, yeah. So sorry, I misunderstood. I was thinking about our stuff. Okay.
No,
solar panels. Yes.
Solar panels don't work at night. Battery backups only work for about 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours, something like that. The Bloom energy system runs on a gas, and it can be, as we learned, any gas. My question is, why aren't they? Because it's a hydrogen system. It makes hydrogen, which creates energy. My question is, can't they make that thing smaller and put it in a car so I can shit in my gas tank and drive down the road?
I'm pretty sure they're doing something like that now. I mean, it's all money. It's all money, and and that's the thing too. Like when I think about cars, like especially when I think about the Prius and the Teslas out there, it's like they say it's environmentally safe, but yet to produce those, is what causes issue.
Well, we actually talked about that. I was talking about this with I can't remember who it was. Maybe it might have been Benji, but it's like if you looked at the environmental damage it does to create one of those Tesla batteries, and don't get me wrong, I think Tesla's a great company.
Yeah, my uncle has a Tesla. I love that car. It's beautiful.
The problem is the environmental damage you create to make that battery, to make that one car. Yeah. You could buy a Honda Civic, brand new Honda Civic, and drive it for 30 years before you come up even half that damage.
Exactly.
And I think the biggest problem with the whole every car needs to be electric the grid's not going to keep up.
No.
The California alone, by 2030, or 2040 or something like that, they want to make 70% of the cars electric. That's great in theory. But they were telling people last year, turn your air conditioners off because our grid can't keep up.
When I lived in LA, like they lived in the valley, it used to happen all the time. The same thing
Yeah.
with the water shortage. It's like you can't water your lawn, you can't put water in the pool, you can't do like there is a lot of restrictions that they had, and it was pretty insane. It's only getting worse. It's getting
Yeah.
worse, and and that's the same thing when I look at Vegas. I'm just like, oh my God! Like you look at Lake Mead, it's like it's just getting lower and lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
And that's where the water source is coming from. So it's insane. Like, there has to be solutions for that. And yeah, like it's just insane.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with my typing?
Mhm. I missed the last one.
Oh, she put in here, you need to read Gridlock by Ben Elton. He wrote it about 40 years ago. She corrected that. Is inverting into water into a hydrogen engine. Actually, there was a guy, he built a the rail buggies. It's like a Volkswagen Beetle motor, but it's pipes and it makes a car. There was a guy, and it might even be the same guy. He built a water-powered car where you could literally grab snow off the ground, throw it in this thing, and run it.
Really?
He was killed. There's videos of that car on YouTube. He literally he's got patents out there where you can go to the patent office, email the patent office, then you get a copy of the patent. The problem is you can't read it because he was not an engineer.
Oh.
So an engineer looks at it and goes, well, that's chicken scratch. Can't figure that out. But he could read it. And
that's a shame.
Well,
that's a shame.
It turns out there was this whole thing, and I was watching this on Joe Rogan. He built this car, and he was at a bar one day talking to his brother or something like that, and he ran out in the parking lot screaming, they're poisoning me, they're poisoning me. 2 minutes later, he was dead.
Damn.
Because he created something. There was another guy, he took a big old Lincoln Continental in the 80s, the fucking yacht that you couldn't put in your living room. You could touch the bumper of it if you stood it up from your apartment.
Yeah.
He didn't change the motor or anything, but he was able to he rebuilt the carburetor where on a single gallon of gas, he drove it for 100 miles.
Wow.
And he was killed in a car accident 2 weeks later.
So like you hear stories like that and you're just like, did that really happen?
Well, I mean, the thing is it comes down to back in the 80s, how much was gas in the 80s?
I know.
I got a couple pennies that'll fill your tank. So back then it wasn't a big deal. People were like, oh, what's $3 to fill my tank? I could run for a month, And in the oil industry, as Leggy's saying there, the oil industry is like, fuck you, we want all this money. The diesel engine was originally invented to run on peanut oil.
Right. I remember. Yeah. And Mercedes was like all on that too. Like, remember the Mercedes diesels? Yes.
And well, yeah. But it's the beauty of what I think is what's happening because of those things is we now have a proper company in Volition where they're doing it right. They're saving. They can do it properly without that worry. Like, I don't think Trent's going to be killed tomorrow
because with the whole they helped Japan when they went through the whole tsunami.
Yeah, well, not just the tsunami. They had that meltdown. They had that whole meltdown of their power plant.
They help,
And
yeah, and they help the country. So it's like, the work that they do is pretty revolutionary, and it's very important for what they're doing. So great to have
exactly.
them on board.
And we're coming to the end of it here, so it's been about an hour. So you have a Volvo that doesn't count. Leggy drives a Volvo. She's the queen Volvo. But yeah, that's basically the plan for this show. Is whether it be a night like tonight where we just kind of shoot the shit about different ways that business can be done. I already talked to a couple of people about coming on as guests, where they can come on and talk about their products. And of course, there's going to be times where we learn something. There's going to be times where we can teach something, and then that's the beauty of something like this. Is yeah, you do love your Volvos. You're so weird about a Volvo.
Volvos are good cars.
Oh, don't get me wrong. They're amazing.
Really good cars.
They're amazing. But Leggy talks about Volvos like they're going to save the planet. Let's be honest.
I love Volvos.
That's like I said. That's the beauty of the show. We're going to be doing every Tuesday, hour and a half max. If we get on a good subject or we get on a good conversation, we can keep going. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Sam, say something to the people about as a goodbye, I guess. As a closing.
That's a good. I don't know. I just appreciated being on. This is the first time I've actually been on a podcast. So thank you for having me, Jeff.
Well, like I said, and you and I were talking about this the other day, and we got time to spare because honest nonsense goes minimum 3 hours. So we got plenty of time. Mm-hmm. But you and I were talking about this today. The best form, I'm of that generation and being a guy that it was like, bottle it up. Don't tell nobody nothing. You deal with your problems. You walk it off, rub some dirt on it, get back out there. Don't be a pussy. And there's been times on Nonsensical Nonsense and podcasts that I've been on that you can open up. I don't worry about, 50 people watching or 5,000 people. I don't care because I'm literally just talking to a friend. Chris and I have been friends for 27 years. You and I have been friends for a little over a year. Vera and I have been friends for 10 years plus, which I'm sure she feels bad about for herself.
I doubt that.
But the beauty of this is it's hard to explain. It's the one thing I love about the podcast that I've been involved with. There's no judgment. There's plenty of razzing, plenty of busting of balls, but there's no judgment.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I usually end Nonsensical Nonsense with my little deuces, but I'm going to end this show. Well, and then of course we got to do our funny guy Mike. Peace out. Hey, down. Yeah, he thinks he's funny. But I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, if you've got a little, think about something for the next time. A little.
I will.
Or yeah. But I'm going to end this show with we may not all have the dollars, but we can always make sense of the dollars. I'm working on it. I haven't really gotten something.
That works.
So,
that works.
we may not have the dollars, but we do have some sense. So I'm going to go ahead and end with our ending video, ending music, our opening music as well. And thanks for everybody for watching.
What if we have that kind of attitude? The cause repossessed. Nobody believes in you. You lost again and again and again. The lights are cut off, but you're still looking at your dream, reviewing it every day and saying to yourself, it's not over until I